Hello guys, welcome to another session. And in this lecture, I'm going to be sharing with you about the problem solving techniques of the interests. First of all, in this lecture, I'm going to discuss about simple interest, and in the upcoming lectures, I'm going to discuss about compound interest, the CAGR, SAGR, and all the related concepts which are asked in CAT. And you know, so first of all, just like every other video before beginning, again, it's just a class 5 stuff. Nothing has changed since class 5th. Whatever you have read in your 5th grade, the concept is going to be exactly the same. So I'll just give you a brush up over the concepts and we can just move ahead to the jam sessions in the upcoming days and just start solving some questions, because this is a very rudimentary concept and this is one thing which we all are very much familiar with. Okay, right from the beginning arithmetic, when we were taught in the schools, we are quite familiar with the kind of concepts that come in such chapters. And I try to say this as an extension of the concept of percentages. This is nothing more but an extension of what we learned in percentages. Okay, so quite an easy topic to be understood, particularly after we have understood the concept of percentages and profit and loss. So let's begin our discussion. Again, our story always starts here in this society. This guy is in trouble now and he requires some money. Okay, and he's facing some economic crisis, let's say. Okay, now his dear friend always has good amount of money and it decides to lend him 50,000 rupees at a rate of 10% per annum for 2 years. Now let's try to understand the terminology over here. First of all, the 50,000, whatever the amount that this guy is going to lend over, this amount is called principal. Okay, also that 10% per annum, this is called the rate of interest, and this 2 years is the time period. Now what do I mean when I say the rate of interest and time period? Let's say you ask me to lend a sum of 100 rupees. Okay, I give you a sum of rupees 100. Now this 100 rupee, the value of this 100 rupees is not going to be the same after 1 year. And how do I say so? Now, to understand this, let's understand the concept of inflation and how the price increases in the market. Suppose we have a product P. Let's say these are onions. Okay, and let's say hypothetically these are being sold at rupees 100 per kg in in the current situation. Now let's consider that everything except the price, except the increment in price, let's say everything remains the same and the market is not crashing or something. So after 1 year time, the same amount of onions, that is 1 kg of onions, cannot be purchased for rupees 100, because generally in a market scenario, price tends to increase. Okay, and if and when the price increase, our capacity to purchase the same amount, our capacity to purchase, basically the amount decreases. Okay, we cannot purchase the same amount using the previous quantity of money. So let's say if we can purchase 1 kg of onions at 110 rupees, we can see that the inflation is 10%, because adding 10% to rupees 100, if we add 10% to the initial amount, we'll be able to purchase the same amount of onions. Okay. So if we have understood that, we can apply the same concept in principal, rate of interest, and time, that is simple interest. Now, what happens is, if I lend you a sum of rupees 1,000, its value is not going to be the same after 1 year or so. Its value generally increases. Okay, and this is due to the fact of the inflation which happens in the market. Okay, so market has some percentage increment, and the value of rupee increases, the value of any kind of money increases. Okay, so having considered that, when this guy lends money to his friend, he kind of expects that he will be getting the same market value of the money which he has lent. So if he just lends the money and gets the same amount in return, as we have learned earlier also, the value is not going to be the same. So he will want that he can at least get at the market value at that point of time. So When he is lending 10 at 10% for 2 years, what he means that for the first year, if he is lending 50,000 rupees, he will ask him to calculate 10% of that. And this will be for year one. Also for year two, he will again do the same calculation. The sum he has lent is 50,000, and he will again do this 10%. And again, from year one to year two, the number of years is still one. So he will again go for one. And if we simplify this, we will have the total amount, which is the principal, the rate of interest R, and 1 plus 1 will become 2. So this is the time period for which the money is lent divided by 100. Okay. So this is the interest rate which this person is going to charge, having lent a particular amount to his friend. So as we can see very clearly, for the first year, the same amount is charged. For the second year, the same amount is charged. And if the amount is lent for t years of time, the value will be P, that is principal, which is 50,000 here, multiplied by R, which is the rate of interest per annum, and then multiplied by T, or the time period, divided by 100. This is going to be the simple interest. And this is the kind of, you can say, the derivation of how we can calculate the simple interest and the value of that. Okay. So all we need to do is keep in mind that this is the kind of a stuff that we use while calculating simple interest, and that's pretty much it. There is no other concept than this in simple interest. So as we have learned so far, simple interest is P into R into T divided by 100, and this is the kind of interest which we are going to pay. Now, interest is paid on the initial amount. So if the interest is 10 rupees and I give you 100 rupees, you are going to pay back me 100 rupees, which was the initial amount, plus the interest, that is 10 rupees. So you are going to pay me back 110. I give you 100 rupees, you give me back 110 rupees. Similarly, if the principal was P and the interest was SI, that is the simple interest, the amount which you are going to pay back is going to be simple interest added to the principal. You are not going to return only the principal, you are not going to return only the simple interest, you are going to return P plus, and what is the value of simple interest? P into R into T divided by 100. So you are going to return this much, and this value is called amount, or the A. Okay. So for example, if Jethalal, this guy, has lent rupees 50,000 at 10% for 2 years, the simple interest is going to be 50,000 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 2 divided by 100. Pretty simple stuff. Okay. 20. So just multiply. This will become 10,000 rupees. Okay. So this is going to be the simple interest. And what is going to be the amount paid? The amount paid is going to be 50,000 plus 10,000. That is 60,000. That's it. That's pretty much it. That's all we have to know in simple interest. Okay. Now there exists one more concept that needs to be, kept in mind while solving problem. Although the concept is going to be the same. Let's say the interest rate is mentioned at rate of 6% per annum for 2 years. Now we have just seen the calculation. Whatever the principal is, we'll multiply that by 6 into 2 by 100, and that is going to be our simple interest. However, if the rate of interest is given as 6% per annum to be charged half yearly, that means the rate of interest is 6% for 1 year. Therefore, for half a year, the rate of interest will be 6 into half. Okay. And now for half, and the interest is charged half yearly. So for 4 years, let's say, there will be 8 number of half years. Okay. So the number of installments being paid will be 8, not 4. Okay. So if in the previous question, if we see, for the previous question, just a second. For the previous question, had it been the interest been charged half yearly, we will have 10% per annum. For 2 years charged half yearly, let's say the example was half yearly, so we'll have 5% interest rate per half year, because 10 by 2 is 5. And then the number of installments would have been instead of 2, we'd have written 4. Okay, although the result would have been the same, but you can see, what is the variation in the concept over here. So this is all that we need to know in case of simple interest and the related stuffs. I have shown you one example, but there is nothing much that needs to be shown, presented before you as an example per se. I would strongly recommend you to go and solve the questions of simple interest. There is no new concept to be learned as far as simple interest is concerned. They are only examples to be practiced, however. In the next lecture, I'm going to be presenting before you the concept related to compound interest, okay, and growth and the growth rates. So that's pretty much from my side for today, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Thank you.